Hello, bonjour, welcome back to my channel. My name is Cyril. I have been a stem cell researcher for many years, and this is why I can tell you about the science behind skincare ingredients. And for today's video, we are going to talk about clean beauty, and I have a few things to say about, I would say, this current trend that is also very similar to organic skincare and to all those I would say skincare brands that promote basically plant-derived ingredients, and that basically tells you that the rest of cosmetics contains a toxic ingredient that can give you cancer, disrupt your endocrine system, and so on. So the first point and where I would like to start is about where these information are coming from. When someone claims that one skincare ingredient, a good example is simply mineral oil, or it also could be parabens, often they tell you like parabens are toxic because they are going to disrupt your endocrine system and they are also going to give you cancer. Or, for example, for mineral oil, that they also contains a very toxic substance that also been shown to be carcinogenic, so basically that can trigger cancer. Where all those stuff are coming from, and this is something that is extremely important, because if I put it in a nutshell, they are coming from science. So it has at one point when an ingredient is putting out there, there is a requirement that we know for our own health if this ingredient is suitable. And obviously, because we are talking about skincare, is it suitable to apply it on our skin, and is it going to be harmful from our health? So this is the first point, in where is it coming from, and most often there are only few people that are really qualified to understand science and especially biology. Like I said always in my introduction, I used to be a stem cell researcher, and my previous work was basically to read what the other people have done in my field, but was also to design myself the experiments, so to create my own protocols to answer one specific question, and then try to understand how a process works, or to answer simple questions. So a good question could be, are parabens dangerous for our health or not? But what you also need to keep in mind is that all science are not necessarily good, and some papers are like crap. An excellent example is this one from Darb and All, and when you are reading the title, it is very scary, because the first thing that you see is, oh my god, parabens are linked with cancer. And also if you read the abstract, so the abstract is basically a short summary of the paper, or I should say, it is a short summary that the authors are presenting you, but that doesn't mean that the scientific claims are supported by the experiment. And in this paper, what they have shown is something very simple. They have taken human breast tumors, and they have asked a very simple question, which is, does this tumor contains parabens or not? And when you are looking at the figures, there are major flaws in those experiments. So the first one is simply, if you are looking at a tumor tissue, you also need to have a healthy donors. And this is very easy actually to get, because when you get a surgery to remove a tumor, the surgeon always remove, of course, the tumor, but also some of the healthy tissue in the periphery. And this I know it well, because in my previous lab, I used to work on human pancreas development, and one of my colleagues was also specialized in the thyroid glands, and she used to get a lot of samples from the hospital, and always she had the tumor but also an healthy tissue. And this is important to compare them. And one of the major flaws of this paper is that, first of all, you don't have an healthy tissue, so you cannot know if in a healthy breast tissue if there is or not a paraben. Another major flaws, and this is the one that for me you can like take this paper and put it to the trash, is the blank. So in biology, in whatever experiment you are doing, you always have one sample without the thing that you want to test. So in that case, this is everything without the tumor or any human tissue. So it's basically water and all the reactives that you need to do this experiment. And in this blank, you have parabens. So it means that the whole setup of the experiments was from the beginning simply contaminated with parabens. So therefore you cannot conclude anything if the parabens are really in the tissue or if it was simply contaminated from all over it, and this is why they have detected the parabens and so on. So my point here is simply that if you are not qualified to understand this, if you are not qualified to really criticize those figures and understand how those experiments were performed, it is very difficult to draw any conclusion. And still, if you are looking at the paraben, they are still allowed in the United States, they are also still allowed in the European countries, they are also allowed in Asia, and they are also allowed in Australia. And in each of those countries and those parts of the world, every time there is always a group of experts that are going to judge if an ingredient is suitable for human health or not in skincare. So yes, the world is not perfect, obviously, and especially science is something that is under construction, so it never stops, and tomorrow we will know even more, and maybe you will discover that one ingredient indeed is not that beneficial that we have thought to be, and etc. But there is no need to be, I would say, so dramatic. And those skincare that you are buying currently, unless they have not been made in a proper fashion, they are perfectly safe to you. Then they are not going to kill you. Another key point that is usually associated with clean beauty is this idea of a natural ingredients. And my first question always is, for you, what is a natural ingredient? What is it exactly? In general, in the head of a lot of person, but also this is what those brands are always advertising, is that natural ingredients, so especially the ones that are plant-derived, are the best for the skin. And this, again, doesn't mean a lot. If you just think about this term, natural ingredient, true natural ingredient should be ingredient that we already have in our skin. An excellent good example is the ceramide, for example. Ceramides are naturally occurring in the skin. Squalene is also naturally occurring on the skin. Retinol is also naturally occurring on the skin. But a plant derived like Centella asiatica, even though there are some very interesting scientific data on it, most of them are only in vitro, this is not something that is natural. We are not a plant. Shea butter is also another example. This is not something that is natural in our skin. This being said, we have also a lot of papers that show that shea butter is excellent for the skin. So the whole idea that plant-derived ingredients, that those natural ingredients are better for the skin than the rest, is completely untrue. And what it does in general is that it makes consumers and people afraid of the other ingredient. There's also this other argument that non-clean skincare contain chemical ingredients, and chemical is of course something toxic. This again doesn't make any sense, simply because every type of ingredient that you are going to use in a skincare are chemicals. Even water are chemicals. Water is a solvent. When you're putting your salt in water, the salt is going to dissolve in the water. This is basic chemistry. So don't be afraid of this term of chemical. Now, in skincare, you have, I would say, two types of ingredients. You have the ones that are obviously plant-derived, that are naturally existing in nature, and we do need a chemical extraction to extract them. Like, for example, the extract from Centella asiatica is not just the plant that is put in a pot. There is an extraction process that requires a lot of chemistry, and all those brands never disclose this. So you believe that you buy something that is natural, but in reality it's not. This is an ingredient that, yes, exists in Mother Nature, but a lot of chemistry happen to just extract this ingredient and then to make the final product in a jar or in a pot or whatever. So don't get fooled, and also don't get worried about that. This is something that us human beings have been doing for a very long time. All our medicine actually is built upon that. This is science, and some of the medicine that you take are also plant derived, or have used to be plant derived. Another example is one antibiotic. It's penicillin. Penicillin is derived from a fungus that also grow on fruit. If you cut a lemon and you leave it on your bench for a long time, you will see that you will have this greenish fungus that contain penicillin and could be very beneficial for our health, and etc. So keep in mind that plant-derived ingredients are not necessarily better, and also the ingredients that we have created, such as silicone, they are not all bad. So it all depends in reality. If you look at the scientific literature, some ingredients, whether they are man-made or plant-derived, some of them are excellent, some others are problematic. And I say problematic, I don't say that they are toxic. Usually when an ingredient is problematic for the skin is because they are irritant and they are going especially to trigger allergic reaction. And others are what we call co-sensitizer. So it means that when you are exposed to an ingredient that will trigger an allergic reaction, another one will amplify this reaction. If you are not new to my channel, you will know that I mostly promote fragrance-free, essential oil-free skincare. And one of the reasons is because I also promote the use of AHA, so alpha hydroxy acid. It also could be BHA. I also promote the use of retinoids. And when you're using those irritants by themselves, they can be very irritating, which is not necessarily a problem. But if you add on top fragrances and essential oils, you can even co-sensitize your skin even more. And this is where the problem is. My last point is in reality what makes a good skincare, and this is a very complex question. So the first thing is simply, do you use the proper skincare for your skin type? If you have a normal skin type, for example, with no major issue, you don't have any acne, you don't have wrinkles or photo damage, do you really need to go straight away with a high strength tretinoid with the highest concentration on planet Earth? Likely no, and you can have a very gentle routine, and if you're transitioning to your 30s, you can probably add a low strength retinol, for example, to just keep your skin in a young mode. Conversely, if you have super oily skin and if you are using a product that is packed with really thick emollients, like mineral oil, for example, this won't be suitable for you, and most likely you will break up from it, because it makes sense. On the other hand, if you have super dry skin, super sensitive skin, you are using a product that is really lightweight, non-greasy, that contains few emollients with a ton of perfume, most likely you are going to irritate your skin, and so on and so on. And my main problem with clean beauty is that they avoid all those very important discussion, and that makes you believe that because most of the ingredients are only plant-derived, it means that they are better for the skin health. There are some stuff about the clean movement that is very amazing. One of them is, of course, taking care about the environment, which is something that we all need to do because we are putting more and more junk in the planet. So of course sustainability is something that is very important. I do not believe that all those brands really have I would say a proper answer, because for example if you have a glass jar, yes, it is more recyclable, but one of the problems is that it is also heavier, so it means that for all the shipping and etc., the plane are using more gas. More gas also translates with more pollution and etc. So this is something that is very tricky and very difficult to address, but still I think it is very important that more and more brands care about the environment. Another point that I also really like is that they promote cruelty-free skincare. In a way, I love it because I'm all about not testing any skincare product on animal, because this is something that is totally unnecessary, and therefore if it is unnecessary, why doing it? But at the same time, it is also a little bit silly to promote it, because for example, any skincare that is sold in the EU, it is illegal to test them on animal. It is also illegal in almost all countries. And currently, I think there is only, but I might be mistaken, there are only China who still requires to test product on animal, which is something that I will not stand for. So overall, my biggest issue with the clean beauty is that they make you think that some ingredients, especially the plant-derived, are much better than the other one, and they are also emphasized that some sunscreen ingredient, but also some man-made ingredients such as silicone, they are unhealthy for us, and that they are toxic, and that they are under scalp disruption, and etc. And this is simply not true. And in general, all those clean products, because they have a high content of botanical ingredients and also fragrance derived from the plant world, they are most likely going to trigger more allergic reaction and sensitization of your skin than more, I would say, conventional skin care. So tell me down below if you have any question regarding this subject. I think it is a very important topic, because I find that there are more and more people that completely mess up their skin, especially their face, because they have all those allergic reactions due to those clean beauty products. Also, please don't be afraid of sunscreen filters. You can be reactive to one filters. This is not something that is going to kill you at all, and there is always another option, and this is why I review so much sunscreen on my channel, is to help you to find the perfect sunscreen for you. Also keep in mind, if you are watching me and if you are in the United States, I really feel for you, because I know that there are so few organic UV filters that are available. You cannot use like the new one, like the Tinozol S, like the Tinozol M. For example, those two, they have no report that they can pass in the blood, for example, and etc. There are plenty of other options in the world. If you are in the United States, the one that you can consider to try are the Japanese one, because they are not that difficult to get. So comment down below and tell me if you have any question regarding this video. I thank you so much for being here. If you like this video, please thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and to ring the little bell to not miss any of my new videos. You can also follow me on Instagram. I do a lot of quiz, especially on my stories about skincare, obviously. Again, thank you for being here, and I will see you next time. Bye bye, au revoir.